to cook for you, the guy that came in at 6 a.m. to prep your shit, so that the line cooks have it at night, so they can give you that delicious thing that you like, your normal order or whatever the fuck it is, you know. So Daidu, delicious. Then I went from Austin. I went to Mesa, Arizona, and I hung out with. Wait a minute. No, I went to the. So, okay, this is what I did. From Austin, I went to the Western Apache Mountain. Met up with Nephi Craig. Nephi Craig is an incredible human being. He is just a man trying to revive his lost culture, right? Understand the generational depression that comes with being, a native to this land, which we know had so much turmoil in its history, and just trying to reconnect with those things that his ancestors did. He's really just an amazing person, an amazing dad, chef, a caring, loving person. And it's taken him a lot to get there. And he describes all that on the podcast I did with him. Nephi Craig, man, you have my heart. You're my boy, for sure. Being able to see, he explained to me, because we saw the reservation, and it's beat up. It's a poverty-ridden place, and those are just the facts. And I'm looking around, and he told me, he's like, I thought this was normal to live like this. When I moved away and I saw how other people lived, I understood, that I was not as well off as most people. And that was deeply impactful for me, because it's all about perspective. It's all about what you've seen. And not everybody gets the privilege to see the world. So once again, I am so lucky to be where I'm at and do what I'm doing. And that's partly why I do it, because I want my family to see all the places you could go, all the food that you could eat. And it's different from my culture. You know what I mean? My mom didn't eat raw fish or caviar or drink wine before I started like really cooking at 3-star restaurants, and being able to have the knowledge to explain why these things are important. My dad's a little tougher. He's still like, who the fuck drinks wine? You know what I mean? But that's just him, man. It's one person's opinion, and it's like we can't. Our first instinct is to be upset with somebody when they don't like what we say, or they don't agree with what we're saying, or you say something that they don't agree with. It's just aggression, and like, I don't like this person. Give that person a chance, man. Like talk through it, because at the end of the day, every human being, as wretched as some may be, there's a beauty in them somewhere, and I can't speak for everybody, so I probably shouldn't say that, but just the people that I've met that are just truly like trying to do the right thing at all times, that shit's important. And they need to be recognized. They need to have their stories told, so other people that are in the same boat as them, have had the same experiences, can move forward and have tools to take care of what they got to take care of, So from there, I went to Mesa, Arizona, and I stayed with a good buddy of mine. Patrick Wilson, Cindy Wilson, shout out to you, sweethearts. Let me stay at their home for 4 days. I was just puffing La in the back like like nobody's business. And just a sweet couple hanging out at the over 55 community. It was dope. Arizona, beautiful place, beautiful mountain drive on the way down from the Apache Mountains. Then from Mesa, I went to L.A. And when I was in L.A., that's when I realized what I had just done. I had just traveled across the globe, or across the United States by car. by myself. And I met so many different people, and I was just at the right place at the right time always. Little side note, I go to Catbird Seat. Who am I sitting next to? Ploy. She was a cook at Single Thread. Worked with Justin McMillan. I had just done the podcast with Justin McMillan the day before. Turns out they knew each other. She also knows Joe and Lydia, who work at Meadowood. Shout out to Meadowood. They have a dinner series at Cato right now. And they're doing all this with no restaurant, you know? And fucking, I forgot what story I was telling. It'll come back to me, guys. It'll come back to me. L.A. First I went to Palm Springs to pick up my shit. And then I went to Los Angeles. I was in Los Angeles telling you that story, and then I forgot what the fuck I was saying to you. But that's what happens when you do it off the cuff, man. You forget some shit. I'm not perfect. I forget shit all the time. You know? Carry your flaws on your sleeve, bro. Make your life a lot easier. You'll have less embarrassment. Because people will know what you're bad at. You know? When you become a boss, I found that the most valuable thing was to address with that person or those people that work for you how you're going to manage them. And when I did a tasting at the Caviar Co., little 7-course tasting there, and 18 covers. It was super super smooth. Shout out to Sarah McKinney for putting that together. Shout out to the Caviar Co. Fucking a lot of learning lessons, in that sort of realm. I've never really done a pop-up before. That was my first one. And there's so much more work that goes into these things when, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at a prep list and you're like, all right, who's going to do that? And you're like, me. Who's going to do that other thing? Me. And shout out to Tyler and Jason taking time out of their busy day running Truffle Shuffle. I mean, they worked all day, and then they came and helped me out, bump some of my prep out. So shout out to them, just really cool dudes. And I went down to Tiburon, California to do the pop-up. That's where it was located. And I was grilling outside. A couple Karens walked by, and they're like, you sure you should have an open flame here? And Petra was actually outside doing some paperwork. She owner of Caviar Co., right? And she's like, oh, no, they're complaining about the fire. 4 minutes later, the fire department truck shows up, fire truck. And I'm like, oh, no, what the fuck's going on here? A lot of song and dance before they get out of the car. He gets out of the car, he looks at it, he's like, I think you guys will be all right. He's like, if they come back, give you any trouble, tell them to call the fire chief. So I'm like, this is what the fire chief has to deal with in this fucking town? There's people complaining about dumb shit like there's a grill with the people grilling meat in front of it? Like, come on, man. So after this little hiccup, we do the event. It's great. But then I noticed something. I'm like, yo, I don't like pop-ups. You know why? Because pop-ups are catering. You know what I mean? Like, that's really all it is. It's catering. And I refuse to do that. So I might not be doing as many pop-ups as you guys think. I will do events at restaurants, like pop-ups like that. But this clandestine fucking pop-up shit, bro, in a Camaro, that shit don't work. I couldn't even fit all my courses in there. I had to have Jeremy Jarman help me out. Jeremy, shout out to Jeremy, man. He's a sweetheart. He's the resident pastry chef over at Truffle Shuffle, teaching you how to cook those lovely, lovely meals. So the pop-up was a great success. I got to cook some food that I've really been wanting to cook for a long time. It was a hybrid of techniques and kind of ideas that I've seen before at restaurants that I've worked at, and some new things, trying to identify what my cuisine is, trying to identify where in this Puerto Rican cuisine do I want to be. There's so many options, there's so many things, so many ingredients, right? You don't want to shut yourself out and say you're one kind of thing. That's why I say I have Puerto Rican influence, right? Because it's not true Puerto Rican food, right? Like we know, we go to the restaurants for, you know what I mean? It's not going to be just rice and beans and meat, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like there's a way to refine the cuisine to really make it shine. And that is one of the goals on this long journey that is life, you know, because at the end of the day, ain't nobody fucking retiring. You're just going to work till we die, you know? Ain't no Social Security no more, none of that shit. So if you start treating the world that way and like there is no finish line, it's kind of like that perspective or the idea that happens when you tell somebody that they're about to leave work. Oh, you can get out early today. Their productivity slows down. You know, there's only very few people who finish strong. So just remember that. That's a very important. The follow through, finish strong. Follow through, finish strong. Follow through, finish strong. Yes, chef. You know what I mean? Got off on another tangent, but that's okay because it's my podcast. I'm just getting a lot of fucking messages here, and I'm like, I should be answering them, but I'm not. I can't right now because I'm on a roll. But it is only 2:30 here on February 2nd, Wednesday. So I go to LA. I do a photo shoot with Trox. Follow him at Trox Photos, NFT Images, Fifth Flavors, John Troxell. He calls me. It's like, I want to do a portrait session with you. So I go do a portrait session with him, and it was amazing. It was fucking awesome. Shout out to him. I love, doing photo shoots, especially with a photographer who's into the art of it, and he wants to also get his narrative across in the picture. It's not just a picture of you and the things that you want to do, and he lets you be normal, natural, and he just captures your essence, He's very good at that. I've seen him do a lot of photo shoots recently with some dear friends, and it has been so cool to see what he's doing. While I was in LA, I dropped the Richmond, Virginia episodes. Richmond, Virginia. I also dropped Greenville, South Carolina. I forgot to talk about that stop. Greenville, South Carolina was the shit. Lots of cool cocktail bars out there. So if you ever find yourself in Greenville, South Carolina, check it out. Shout out to Nathan Kryler one more time again. And then I had a little bit of at this point, I'm in LA. It's like the 7th. I was in LA the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Then I went up to Oakland. And at that point, the podcast was like, I was just exhausted. Like, I just got in Oakland, like, yo, let me sleep. You know what I mean? And it was just dope. And at this time, which was, I took a little bit of hiatus from December 7th to December 16th. I was just kind of traveling, eating at restaurants, doing podcasts, trying to set up more podcasts. But at this point, I was just so exhausted that I dropped the ball on fucking putting some more podcasts on the radar for my my Oakland Napa trip. But the podcasts that I did get were amazing. I went up from LA. I went to Oakland. I got the Chef Swoop on there. Solomon Johnson and Mikey Woods of Oko Supper Club and the Bust Down Oakland. Fucking awesome dudes. They told their story about their pop-up and all the things that they've struggled with coming up as young brown chefs, young black chefs, right? It's a thing that's hard to understand for white people. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard, right? I had some issues with that this summer where I had to explain to people that even though I'm not a black man, and this was something that I've talked extensively to my, I call him my race coach, Carl Alexander. Shout out to him.